After so many weeks of waiting, One Piece is finally back. Chapter 1087, titled Battleship Bag, features a cover page of Ace hanging out with some capybara, and even heating up their bathwater. It's always nice to see some Ace content, even if it's just silly stuff like this. The chapter opens up with the coastal ship scrapyard of the Marines G1 headquarters. Commodore Brand New was in the middle of explaining something called a battleship bag to Lieutenant Commander Django and Lieutenant Commander Fullbody. Apparently, these ruined ships were used by someone as a replacement for normal sandbags. They were punched like this repeatedly. Shocked, Django wondered who could possibly ever do such a thing. Brand New explained that Vice Admiral Garp had been doing so since his youth, a daily routine of his that had continued even now, many decades later. That last part seemed to shock Django even more. Fullbody wondered why there were two ships in that case. Brand New added that the other ship was there for Garp's student, the man that was formerly an admiral, Aokiji. To make things even more impressive, Garp had a special rule for this training of theirs. No devil fruit abilities were allowed while using the battleship bag. Not only that, but no hockey abilities were allowed either. That's pretty damn crazy. These guys are able to lay into whole warships with their bare fists. With this, Brand New made it expressly clear that the strength of these two heroes was not innate. The level of strength they had both achieved was gained by way of incredible hard work and daily diligence to said work. The Marine admirals especially are often praised for their incredible devil fruit strength, on account of them mostly consisting of peak Logia abilities. So to be made aware of such a hard-working backbone behind it all is really cool. From there, we would be taken back to the pirate island of Hachinosu. San Juan Wolf had crashed into the watery depths, but he seemed to be too big to be completely submerged at such a distance. Garp had previously blown him away, an all-too impressive feat that had many of the pirates on the island shaking in their boots. Seeing as San Juan Wolf is a Delphi user himself, being exposed to water like this effectively removed him from the conflict. And although he was way too big to be completely enveloped, they need to hurry up and bring him to the surface before he dies from a lack of oxygen. If only they knew how to do that with such a massive figure. Vasco's shot mocked Garp's title of legendary hero as he chugged down a drink. In the next moment, he spewed a fiery breath attack at the old legend. Yet another fire-based ability in One Piece added to the list. Garp coldly lifted up a trio of already exhausted pirate scum and used them as human shields against the onslaught. He didn't even bat an eye as they erupted into flames. Seeing as Vasco wasn't letting up, Garp continued to grab more and more pirates to protect himself with. Afterwards, each was launched off in different directions to spread the havoc. This, of course, really got on the nerves of Avalo Pizarro, who, as an island human, was in utter dismay over the destruction. And he wasn't the only one. Several of the pirate extras came to the realization that if Blackbeard were to return and find his island in such a state, they would be exterminated in droves. Seeing the enormous smile on Garp's face, they wondered why he wasn't fazed by their superior numbers in the least. He was way too scary. From there, Rear Admiral Kujaku sent a message to Garp. She'd confirm that the formerly captured civilians and injured Marines had now all set out to sea. Behind her, Captain Tashigi was tending to Commander Hibari, telling her to get a hold of herself. Those on board would be told to carefully defrost everyone who had been frozen by Aokiji. Meanwhile, the former captives were concerned about Captain Kobe's safety. Kujaku then confirmed that they were clear for departure at any time. Hearing this, Garp shouted out to the forces still with him that they were done here and it was time to go. Kobe, Gruss, and Helmeppo all agreed, and all too befitting for a place known as Pirate Island, there seemed to be no end to their reinforcements. But rising again from the billowing smoke was the one man most intent on not letting Garp leave, his former student, Aokiji. Seeing their current predicament, Helmeppo regretted his decision to not leave with the others. They were in a bad situation, and the threat of death was all too apparent. Rear Admiral Prince Gruss, on the other hand, was far more concerned with whether or not Garp considered him to also be the future of the Marines along with Kobe. Garp didn't respond to him, but recognized his former protege's desire to continue fighting. Kobe just gave everyone a pretty obvious heads up that they should all be careful against the officers of the Blackbeard Pirates, which is going to be very ironic in just a moment. Garp would command his remaining men to run as fast as they possibly could towards the coast. From there, they'd be just fine. He followed this up by telling them not to die, and they all agreed. But as Kobe began running, he'd hear the desperate cry of a woman in distress asking for help. Seeing that there seemed to still be some kidnapped civilians on the island that they had missed, Kobe swiftly turned around to save her. He was relieved that they hadn't yet made their departure and would have the chance to help another person. Prince Grush shouted at his junior for falling for such an obvious trap. The pirate woman was now cackling as Kobe remained dumbfounded and Garp was forced to rush into action. Now holding back an unseen assailant, the heroic Vice Admiral was pierced through the abdomen by a lengthy blade as young Kobe tumbled over. As blood trailed from his mouth, seeing the other end of the sword protruding from his master's back, Kobe couldn't make sense of what was before him. Garp then reeled back a mighty fist. He plunged it down onto the mysterious attacker with all the might he could muster. Downed, bloodied, and laughing, it was Shiryu. Garp recognized him to be the troublemaker from Impel Down. It was then that Kobe realized that the enemy's ability was invisibility. The surrounding pirates were very pleased to see that Shiryu had entered the fray. Not only that, but he had even managed to stab the previously unfazed hero. Helmeppo and Gruss both cried out in horror. Garp insisted that he was fine and urged them to get to the ship. Kobe cried out in dismay, knowing that this was all his fault, that Garp had taken the hit to protect him. Garp shouted at Kobe not to be so full of himself. Shiryu's true target had been him from the very beginning. With Garp clearly weakened from such a wound, the virtually endless horde of pirates came rushing in, believing themselves to now have a chance at taking him down. The mere thought of cashing in on such a one-of-a-kind fortune was enough for them to overcome their previous fears and aim for his head. The bounty that Cross Guild had set for Vice Admiral Garp was 3 crowns. That is the same as taking down an admiral. Just about 3 billion berries. Blitzing towards his target, Aokiji told the fodder to get out of the way. That even if both of Garp's arms and legs were bound, weaklings like them would not be able to kill him. Aokiji pulled back an icy fist as he charged forward. Garp continued to smile as he thought of times long past. While he was still a young man in his prime, he was approached by a fledgling Aokiji who wanted to be made into a student. Garp wasn't looking to have his freedom stolen in any way. He'd tell the kid to just go and learn from the marine instructors. But Aokiji insisted that he had already learned all he could from the instructors and was aiming for the next level beyond that. Again, he would ask Garp to make him his student. But Garp remained adamant and told the boy to shut up and get lost. That, however, did not last very long, as soon after, the two could be seen pounding their fists into the front of some ruined battleships together. Garp demanded that Aokiji avoid using haki. He insisted that otherwise, it wouldn't be training, which is a pretty bold statement. But at this point in time, Aokiji couldn't even use haki. This in and of itself was quite the statement as well. Clearly, the training that Garp subjected Aokiji to was a lot more intense than the regimen he cooked up for Kobe and Helmeppo. The two of them did this for a very long time. Aokiji was even there when Garp admitted that his very own son had become a revolutionary. And over the course of their time together, Aokiji's strength steadily increased until he was right up there with Garp. At one point, after Luffy told him that he would become a pirate, Garp angrily relayed the message to Aokiji, telling him that he wouldn't allow it. That was hardly the Iceman's problem though. It's kinda crazy how many of the people Garp was closest with deviated from the path he intended for them. But I guess that comes with the territory of being someone so insistent on your own freedom. Beyond all the heavy-handed lessons, that was the major takeaway they all received from him, and they all ended up living as they pleased. Over time, with Aokiji's new position, their training together became far more infrequent. But the warmth between them clearly remained as Garp invited him to go eat some snacks together. Aokiji insisted that he was too busy on account of being an admiral now, but Garp just told him to go bring out the tea. Staring one another down in the present, Aokiji would express that Garp had raised quite the troublesome enemy. Garp would remind the pirate that he is excommunicated, before calling him a foolish student. With that, the two men struck one another with mighty blows to the face. The resulting fallout was catastrophic. Both were sent flying back a great distance as Kobe cried out for the Vice Admiral. From there, Avalo Pizarro began cackling to himself. He'd tell the foolish Marines that their hopes of escaping were slim to none. This was Hachinosu, the island of pirates. If they poke it, tons of them will pour out. Avalo would taunt them by questioning if they truly believed the escaping ship was safe. Then he'd tell them not to underestimate the power of the island fruit. On board, Hibari had finally thawed out, Still incredibly cold, she'd wonder where Kobe was. She asked this before apologizing for being a dead weight. Kujaku confronted her by saying that the others would be coming back soon and was just glad that the girl was alright. Just then, two of their members noticed something approaching them. Avalo was having a great time. He was tired of the newspapers only ever highlighting Blackbeard's accomplishments. The rest of them wanted their names to be known too. With that being said, he was certain that the headline for tomorrow's paper would be very different. According to him, it would read that the renowned Vice Admiral Garp, together with the group of young elite troops he'd gathered in an attempt to save the hero of the Marines, Captain Kobe, were tragically exterminated on the pirate island Hachinosu. As he reached out a colossal island arm towards the ship, he further claimed the cause to be the terrifying power of the 4th ship captain of the Blackbeard Pirates, Avalo Pizarro. Kobe was in a panic as he begged the enemy to stop. Everyone was on that ship, including non-Marines. Garp, still on his back, called out to Kobe. Then, while looking up into the sky, he told his young student not to lose his composure. Regardless of the circumstances, he had no doubt that justice would prevail in the end. One Piece has so many incredible things going on at one time that although I'd really hope we continue from here next week, I can't say I'd mind seeing another perspective as well. Apologies for the previous inconsistencies with these chapters, but best believe that will no longer be the case from here on out. Let us know what you think about the grand return of One Piece in the comments below. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.